Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me today. Super excited to be here. I am Christina Laniak, and I'm the outside sales rep for the Southeast region for Pharos Systems International. And today we're going to take about 20 minutes to discuss print management and document security during a global pandemic and how to plan for the future, both now and well into 2021. And with that, I will share my screen. All right, great. So clearly, COVID-19 has impacted our entire world, which in turn has shifted or sometimes frozen our initiatives or budgets that were planned for this year. However, I'm guessing that anyone on the call today is probably focusing on how to properly manage print and their document security from now into 2021. And so that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. And when we talk about print management, it is more than just the person in charge of the printers. It really does encompass many parts of an organization, when it comes to decision making and also creating strategies that really make sense. Whether you're in charge of IT security, the actual printers and copiers and document management, or compliancy and regulation, or you're part of the HR or legal processes team, this information really should resonate with everyone on the call today. So we're going to start by taking a look at a typical example of trends that we've seen from a printing standpoint due to COVID-19. And this is actual data from one of our customers. And as you can see in the graph, post-pandemic printing, so right after that February 2020 mark, it's really just fallen off a cliff there. And what you can see here is that the average monthly volume of print that we saw went from the peak in February from over 3 million pages a month and dropped down to under about 1 million pages. So that's 70 to 80% reduction in the output that we saw. And it kind of, went along with the number of users. It went from 4,000 users down to under 1,000 users. So this is really the reality of what's happened when everyone went home. And that doesn't necessarily mean that all printing has stopped happening. It just really means that printing is now being done elsewhere with remote workers. And again, as we've all become more accustomed to, I guess, what we can call the new normal, one thing we started to take a look at is what the future is going to look like and what returning to the workplace might look like. So, what's our future look like in 2021 and what, do we need to plan for? And of course, that's going to look differently for everyone. So, we've seen some reports say 25 to 30% of the workforce will never be returning to the office on a normal basis. Some companies can allow employees to work from home indefinitely. Some companies are making it the choice of their employees whether they want to remain home or go back to the office. And some have given us dates from January 2021 return to the office well into the fall of 2021 when they're going to be inviting employees back. And I do think it's safe to say that this work from home aspect is really going to remain and probably won't get back to where it was pre-COVID. And so we're basically seeing three trends here. And the first trend is that people are going to return on a traditional style of, in the office setting. Some of you might even be starting that return to the office now. And second, others were going to be working in decentralized offices. We've spoken to some companies who, don't really want to invest in that real estate. They just kind of want to rent some flexible or shared workspace so they can scale and descale based on what's happening in the workforce and with COVID. And then the third option, people are going to continue to work from home. And you can see it right here, this one lady at her little makeshift desk in, it could be her living room, just like me. This is, the work from home setup might be temporary, it might be long term, but I think this is, kind of what we're going to see as far as a blended options going into 2021. So the question is, how should you be managing your print and security during this time? And this is definitely something that we recommend putting a clear policy and regulations in place and not just the wait and see how it goes and hope there's no data breaches where someone's personal information gets out there. And actually, I was speaking with a coworker of mine the other day going over this presentation, and he shared with me a story, and he said in military officer school, they have a +1, 0, and -1 in terms of making decisions. And the +1 is considered the right decision. The 0 is considered the failure to make a decision. And the -1 is considered the wrong decision. And so they teach you that your soldiers or those who are looking to you for direction will respect you more if you make a decision, even if it ends up being the wrong one. So essentially being paralyzed and that wait and see mentality or the zero, the failure to make a decision, it's really not going to get you anywhere. And when it comes to your print management, we do recommend creating a strategy, 3 phases, and those phases are measure, reduce, and secure. And so the first phase is to measure. So what you want to do is you want to go out there and get a baseline. What's your current state? How much is being printed and from where? How does it differ from pre-COVID? Has a lot of your volume shifted to home? Is some of your print volume starting to return to the office? Who's printing? What are they printing? And what's the real reason behind printing for them? Studying behavior is a very important part of measuring your print activity. And then you get that baseline to really understand what's happening today and how you can strategically plan for the future with cost savings, security, and also reduction. And people are already starting to trickle back into the office now. They have, alternating schedules. There's an increasing mobile workforce. And ultimately, you can't manage or measure what you're not monitoring. And the way people think of print and their overall habits might have changed this over the course of this year. They may have stopped printing as much because now they have to pay for it on their personal printers. What are you going to see when they return to the office? How are their habits going to change? And what is that printing going to look like? And by looking at the specifics of your current print environment, you're going to be able to make a plan for the future. So with this understanding, then you'll be able to see, how you stack up against your peers, your competitors, and then start to apply some best practices and benchmarks, which will then enable you to reduce some things. And so, for example, when we take a look at infrastructure, this shift to everything as a service, infrastructure as a service, software as a service, platform as a service. When we really take a look at that infrastructure, there's an increasing shift to transition to the cloud. And print has really picked up steam in this respect with print as a service. And the idea that you can have no infrastructure, just internet connectivity, and you can print securely and timely. So if you're looking at infrastructure, there is that big shift to move to the cloud services. And if you are heading to the cloud and to that zero trust environment, and moving applications to the cloud, what typically happens is that you break traditional print. You kind of end up breaking it without even thinking about it. So, the question is, how do you plan for taking print to the cloud with everything else that you're doing? And also in this reduction phase, it can reduce total cost of ownership of printing, the number of assets. So when you take a look at that anticipated measure and you get that baseline understanding of the users and what equipment you have out there, then we can take a look at the hardware. So, can we reduce a little bit of what we have in the office? Can we reduce what we have at home? Maybe we need more devices or to shift equipment around to be more cost effective. Maybe you don't want to completely go serverless, but you want to take small steps in reducing what you can. And so once you have that baseline, it's going to help you take a look at these areas where you can reduce some costs. And lastly, we recommend that you look at security. So you might have employees working from their home, from their cars, from hotels. How do you secure everything that they're doing? And more so than just having a firewall, how do we ensure compliancy? And how do you make sure personal information isn't getting into the wrong hands? And when we look at this measure piece, what we want to understand and manage is, how is the user working from home? And again, we can't efficiently manage what we don't understand and what we're not looking at. And security is a huge factor here. And it's one that a lot of companies want to make sure that they're being compliant with HIPAA and other regulations. And, really taking a look at these things and determining how to put rules and tools around that process to create more security in that work from home environment. So we've gone through our 3 recommended phases and on how to manage your print environment, which are measure, reduce, and secure, which brings us to our cloud-based Pharos Beacon solution, which will enable you to do all 3 of those things. Beacon is a secure, true cloud technology, internet-only type of solution, and Beacon helps you measure and get that baseline that we discussed in the beginning. And when it comes to working from home, Beacon will track and report on your remote and in-office users, whether they're connected to VPN or a home network or working out of the Starbucks across the street. It's going to be able to track everything that happens on those devices. we've got this this employee that's working from home, and we're going to be able to give you a peek into the Beacon dashboard on how to report on, those work from home employees as well as those in-office employees. And what you see here is who printed what, how many pages, did it have color content, how many copies, all that metadata we can collect and report on. And you can also set a target print goal when you set up your Beacon platform. And what you're seeing in the red here is in the screenshot is users who are printing more than 20% than that target that was set by your organization. And again, over to the right side of the screen, when you see this kind of hockey stick looking thing to the right, I'll show you right up here. So that's very common in organizations, where you have that subset of users towards the top that are printing a significant amount. And with this data, you can really figure out who those people are, and if what they're printing actually needs to be printed for their job purposes, or if some of those print habits can maybe be eliminated. Whether they have that home printer on their own local network or plugged in via USB, we can basically pick up everything that's being printed to those work devices. So, if you have corporate assets like workstations or mobile devices that are made into people's homes and you want to track what's being printed, we can definitely provide that. And as you can see, you can also get very granular with this data and stack users based on print usage and costs. And these boxes down here at the bottom, those are what we call cost causers. And you can break those down by department and stack rank those as well. And so if you want to single out a user, we can break things out by department and then by user. So here we can see that Andrea has printed to 20 different devices from 6 applications, 40 different documents. Beacon's going to show you the actual cost savings from saved print as well. You can click on documents and you can see a full audit trail down to the end user. We're able to report on what each individual end user is doing. And again, here you see, we're breaking it down for Andre. It's date and time stamped here. We can see what application, what device. And, now that you've identified this user who is printing a lot, you can really drill down to see what they're printing. So again, Beacon helps you measure and get that baseline for when you return to the office, and it will help you to evaluate your inventory and assets, allocate resources appropriately, understand who's back in the office and their print behaviors, and understand trends in order to make those strategic plans and to save on costs. And for the who's back piece, for example, Pharos identified some essential personnel and non-essential personnel. So, if you understand who your company is planning on coming back into the office, you can kind of prioritize the resources being given to those employees. You might want to do a pilot to the small subset of users, while you can, that are going into the office, and then roll out the rest, roll it out to the rest of your employees as they come back in. Again, helping yourself to get that baseline of what's going on, utilization rates, and forming that strategy and print policy going into 2021. So now this dashboard is showing you information that you should know for your fleet. So Beacon can pick up all that's happening on your devices. So, what's the utilization? What does the volume look like as opposed to, pre-COVID? And maybe what needs to be assessed here. And you can drill down into these 6 boxes to get that information. And on your fleet side, you can break things down by devices. Are there printers being over or underutilized? And these details that you can get from the fleet manager, and all this data and these spreadsheets can be exported to CSV files, and we also have API connectors available as well. And so now this image is showing you how you can break it down by region. And by region, by department, you can also report on application, paper size, and why is this all important? Basically because it shows behavior. Is it falling into the I want to print bucket or I have to print bucket? We usually say people print because they print because they want to or because they have to, or they want to, they're printing out, PowerPoints because it's easier for them to read. They're printing out their kids' schoolwork. Typically, people want to do the right thing when it comes to print. We just have to easily communicate appropriate behavior and, show that you care and you are paying attention. And with these reports, this is really going to give you that information to kind of, again, start strategically planning for the future. And also what this screenshot is showing is a savings opportunity. So right here, you can see it's highlighted right there, the savings opportunity, and that's going to show you what savings are possible and above the targets that you set. So this shows that a third of the savings opportunity exists within the production department, which is highlighted right here. And so really, you don't have to evaluate every single department. You might want to go after the outliers and the areas with the most opportunity to save costs. And that is exactly what Beacon is going to help you determine. So second, Beacon also helps you to reduce. And so you've probably all seen a floor map like this one at some point. Really, the Beacon data is going to be able to show you what's possible for reduction and for cost savings. And for this example, this was the original state of what the nursing unit on the second floor looked like for Banner Health. And as you can see, they had 64 unmanaged devices. And after implementing our software, we're able to get to help them reduce that from 64 unmanaged devices down to 11 devices. And another way to look at reducing is from an infrastructure perspective. So first you have your users, which is your input, and then you have your devices, which is your output. And typically the way this is set up is, you have your servers, you have your print servers if you already have a print management solution, you have your database, and the print flow goes from the workstations and the users to the servers and then delivered to the devices. So, if you move to a cloud solution like Beacon, you can basically eliminate or significantly reduce the servers. You're able to eliminate the print servers and database servers with this solution. So Beacon reduces costs, and it also simplifies things for your IT staff and for your users. When, we look at migrating to the cloud, we are looking at getting rid of physical servers. And all that comes to a hard dollar cost, but there's also a soft dollar cost that's associated with it. Someone's spending their time on all of this IT stuff. And in moving to the cloud, you are able to reduce or eliminate all of this. To give you an idea, a typical enterprise print server costs about $7,500 per year to operate. So, when you consider those hard and those soft dollar costs, this is a great tool to help you reduce some of those. And so with the on-premise solution, you are responsible for, as you can see, all these things listed here on the left-hand side. You're responsible for servers, for firewalls. You're liable for, all service and updates. And, some organizations take that step to infrastructure as a service and lift and shift from physical servers into private cloud environment. We just want you to understand that with this, you still have to do database and security updates. It's not a true cloud solution. And we're showing you here that true cloud is clearly where the real magic happens. So with this option, you're truly outsourcing to someone else. There are cyber security standards that are met. It's a multi-tenanted solution. Now you have software that's going to self-update on its own. You've got a true cloud solution. And this is just another way to look at that. There's a lot of what we call cloud washing out there. Lifting the server from an on-premise to a private hosted space is not a true cloud solution. In that world, you're still, a singular instance of that application, and you still have to do the upkeep on that. And Pharos Beacon is print as a service solution, true cloud solution. And so lastly, Beacon helps you to secure your devices in your print process. So it offers print paths to both secure print and direct print. And for the secure print, I just go file print and then the job is parked in the cloud and it waits for you until you physically walk up to a device and release that job, whether that's with, a badge, a QR code, typing in your PIN. Every user can choose to release or delete the document, which does also turn into waste savings, which is great. So Beacon also really adds that layer of security and ensures that information isn't getting into the wrong hands. And again, this shows you the different ways you can use to release your jobs so that your documents really remain your own and are not left out for anyone to walk away with. With this secure release method here, your documents are not printed until the user is present at the device. And in this case, the user walks up, types in their PIN, swipes, and they're able to select the documents that they want to be printed. And again, this eliminates tray trash, and anything that the user decides not to print will be purged within, whatever appropriate time frame you set up, whether that's, 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours, from sitting in their print queue. So again, helps you save on costs there. Also, everyone's loving our mobile print with our QR code, that touchless print option, especially during COVID. It's just been an excellent way for employers to add an extra layer of safety to reducing the touching of shared surfaces. And it's also been a simple and cost-effective option for your single function printers. It's as easy as printing that label off and affixing it, to the front of your printer. Also supports the increasing mobile workforce and enables this as a way to submit your jobs through your phones or tablets. So another option for that touchless print is enabling this countdown. So where users can swipe their badge and then, unless they, tap on the panel, select specific, all the jobs in their queue can be printed out within 5 seconds or less. So again, that just kind of eliminates any touching of the panel or surface that needs to be done. So right here, we want to show you how Beacon does have integration with Chromebooks. We can support Chromebooks for direct or secure printing. Beacon also works for Windows and for Macs. We're just showing the Chromebooks option here. Of course, you can customize, change your logo, color schemes that you see here. You'll get a prompt for your G Suite credentials, and it also populates for other single sign-on options that you have. So you just plug in your credentials for whatever platform you're using, and then it'll show that you're successfully logged in and able to print. And then you'll get a list of printers to choose from. I'm sure your devices, have this type of label on them. You already have some sort of naming convention for each, I'm sure. So you're able to customize those printers listed with whatever nomenclatures you already use. And for a user to add a printer, as you can see, it's very simple, very easy to read, and then they'll get this successful, you're ready to print prompt. And so the benefit of moving this push print or pull print workflow into the cloud, um, you know, is basically that you're no longer going to have to manage drivers. Oh, there we go. I forgot about that. So then here again, it's just a nice little visual that, the document goes straight from the users up to being stored in the cloud and then back down to the printers when they're ready to print it. So again, it just helps you save on costs, eliminate some, infrastructure, and it enables you to secure print. So why Beacon? Besides all of these reasons listed, it is low risk, user friendly, it is the true cloud solution, it reduces infrastructure and administrative needs on upkeep, it's a subscription-based model with all the tools included in the package, it's easy to implement, it's very affordable, but also because we have been in the business of cloud printing since 2014. Where this is all, new to every other cloud solution out there. We were tried and true. We've had, 7 years of, perfecting it with our customers, testing it, building case studies, and really getting our solution to where, it is what, fits your needs. So, if your path is moving to the cloud, you're moving towards zero infrastructure, zero trust environments, we have the knowledge in the US-based support team able to get you there and help create a smooth transition specific to your goals and your needs. So if you have some interest in learning more about Beacon and you want to move beyond that wait and see mentality, which is not a good plan, I do invite you all to take advantage of our 60-day free trial. Beacon can really help you start to get that initial baseline like we talked in the beginning, collect that data at no cost, and get you on track to measure, reduce, and secure your printing both now and into 2021. So with that, thank you so much for participating today. If you have any questions, I'm looking forward to talking with you one-on-one. Please feel free to reach out to us and have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much.